Alright, what's up, gang? So, I actually already recorded like this topic, but my perfectionism got in the way. I'm working on it, just bear with me. But I just wanted to like cover the topic of moving forward and how to continue on that path despite being tempted to go backwards. Because a lot of times, whenever we do make really good decisions in our lives, and we come to a conclusion of, I might need to get out this relationship, or I might need to get a better job, or I might need to get about this friendship or this neighborhood. We have valid reasons for why we move forward, but a lot of times when we move forward, we forget why we left, and we kind of get seduced back into what we came out of by just looking at the positives. Perfect case example that I use in this other video is, imagine if it was a person who lived in the hood, and all their life, all they knew was violence, gang banging, murder, stuff like that. This person decides within themselves, I want better. I want to do something different. I want a safe future. I want a very prosperous future that is healthy. Like maybe that person wants children or something in that nature, and they're just like, I want to be able to provide a safe environment for my children. Okay, so the person moves forward, but when in the process of the moving forward, they start to miss their hometown. They start to miss the people that they once were cool with. They start to miss the drama. They start to miss that stimulation of the fast-paced life and all of that. And so what happens is, because they miss these things or these people, they end up right back to square one. And so that's something that I mentioned in other videos, that a lot of times we move forward and we start to miss things, and we only miss them because we're looking at the positives, which nothing's wrong with that. But something I have learned is that we have to look at all things from a balanced approach. Just looking into getting back into a situation because of looking at just the positives, that means overlooking what made you leave, and like in that situation, if a person is living out that neighborhood, it's just like, okay, you're going back because you miss your hometown, things of that nature. But now look at the negatives. You are now back in an unsafe environment. You now have to look over your shoulders and have to make sure you're not killed, and you're no longer in a safe environment for your children, and now you're getting caught up with the law and stuff of that nature. So a word of advice that I mentioned, that I myself have been practicing here at home with my own personal situations, is whenever I leave out of a situation that I feel is not aligned with where I am going or what's best for me, what helps me to continue to stay moving forward is reminding myself why I left. Because a lot of times we don't physically go back, but we mentally go back, thinking of and reminiscing about, like, oh, what was it like in that neighborhood? Oh, I missed being with that person, or I missed this friendship, things of that nature. It's kind of like daydream land in a way, Damn, my hair just got in my face and stuff. But a lot of times we just get tricked into going back because we're just looking at the positives, But something I do in my personal life is, real life, I have written down on paper list of reasons for why I left behind and put certain things behind me, because in the example, if a person moved out of a neighborhood that's filled with violence and things of that nature, it's easy for them to go back because they miss the positives. But if that person had a list of reasons why they shouldn't go back, why they left, they would have a more rounded and balanced perspective, and they will be able to make a balanced decision, a level-headed decision. Because when I think of level-headed, I think it ain't tilted too much this way and it's not tilted too much this way. It's not biased at all. It's very neutral. So the only way we can really make balanced, level-headed, and neutral decisions is if we're looking at things from both the positives, the pros, and the negatives, the cons. So just my advice to anybody who, if you came out of a situation and it's like you missed that situation, you missed that person, I just want to let you know that's absolutely normal. How you feel is normal. Because that's something a lot of people don't talk about. A lot of people make it seem like, oh, if you move out of that relationship or that friendship, you'll move on, you'll find better, things of that nature. Like, everybody makes moving on sound so pleasant. They make it sound so fun and bubbly and happy, and it's not that at all. I mean, to a certain degree it is, but then again it's not, because if you're walking away from a friendship, you formed a bond with that person. If you're walking out of a relationship or a marriage, you formed a bond, so it's not that you're just walking away from a toxic situation or a toxic workplace or environment. You are walking away from a person who you shared a very special part of yourself with, and it's just something that people don't mention enough of. Moving on, there's days when you'll cry. Moving on, that means there's days that you feel very lost and sad and hopeless, because that was all you knew. For some of us, that was all we knew. That relationship, that friendship, that job, that environment, that neighborhood, that was all we knew. So we're basically being uprooted from what we have grown comfortable in, and we're being placed in a foreign environment, and that's when the loneliness kicks in, the sadness, the sorrow, the reminiscence, and things of that nature. So I just want to let anybody else know that my neighbor, she's outside throwing her trash away. She's precious. But you're going to have those negative thoughts. You're going to have those negative feelings. A lot of times you may even feel a little bit misplaced, because once again, you're being taken out of a situation that you've grown comfortable with. Whether it was toxic or not, you grew comfortable with it. That was a norm for you at some point, So, moving forward, it's not always pleasant. It's not always peaches and cream and, off to a fresh start. It's not that. Sometimes it is to a certain degree, but that means having to move around, moving to a neighborhood with new people you barely know. That means, for some, if you're coming out of a relationship, man, just getting to know people all over again, and it can be a very draining process just thinking of getting to know a person all over again or starting fresh. It can seem very draining, and I just want to normalize not feeling too good about making good decisions. And I just want to clear the air that how you feel, it's normal. Sometimes when we make certain calls in our lives, it's not pleasant. Moving on is not always pleasant. It's not always, because if you're anything like me, I'm a Venus Scorpio. So when I am with a person or in a job that I'm really happy with and things of that nature, if I go close to people, it's like I try to cling, and just the thought of moving forward and having to restart, and if you're anything like me, that's actually very challenging, and to the point sometimes even very discouraging. But it is doable. But I just wanted to make this video to let anybody who is moving forward, just want to let you know that those thoughts you have, those feelings that pop up, that random sadness that creeps up on you, you think you're doing good, but out of nowhere you're crying and stuff, looking backwards, things of that nature. All of that stuff is normal. It's absolutely normal. But one thing I say again, making you a list, because if you're coming out of a situation, once again, those are your roots and you're being uprooted into a new situation. So you missing where you came from, that's going to happen. But on top of you missing what you come out of, that's just you looking at the positives of what you miss. If you have a list in place of why you're no longer with that person, why you left that job, why you moved out of that neighborhood, it will help you to have all the information you need to make a sound and healthy, level-headed decision. Because a lot of times we move forward, certain emotions or memories pop up and we go back. And then we get reminders while we're in the past, I shouldn't have got back in this relationship, or I shouldn't have got back in this friendship, or I never should have let this person back in my life, or I never should have moved back into this neighborhood, and we start beating ourselves up. So we move out of it again, and then we start missing again, but maybe it's a little different this go around, maybe so we go back, and it's a cycle. And the only way that cycle can be broken is if we have a clearer understanding of why we move forward, because it's difficult to move forward if you don't fully know why you moved forward, if you keep forgetting why you moved forward. Because a lot of times we forget, especially if time passes on, like maybe you did have a friend that was jealous of you or something and kind of like rubbed your name in the dirt and things of that nature. But after you go so long without talking to that person, you think, okay, well, maybe they have changed. Maybe things are different this go around, and end up right back in this situation. And sometimes we have to go back just so that we can get that closure that we need, like, oh wow, you haven't changed, or this neighborhood has not changed, or my work environment has not changed. And sometimes we have to go back just to get burnt, just to have that reminder, so when we move forward we have that confirmation, like, yeah, you missed that person, but nothing has changed. It's still the same, the only way that cycle can be broken, it's like with a circle, like even if you're watching my finger, you go forward and then it's like something catches your attention, you're like, oh, maybe if I just go back, then you go forward again, so that's what a cycle is. A cycle is basically you moving forward, but you get distracted and you go back, you visit that same situation, and then you come back to your realization, like, maybe I shouldn't do this. Then you go forward again, you're like, but I kind of miss it, maybe they changed, and then you go back, and then it's a cycle. And the only way that can be broken is if we continue moving forward, and that's what I love so much about Spirit, is that Spirit is so patient with us. Spirit allows us that time to learn and go through the process, go through the motions. But one thing I will say is that if you're a person who you're highly tapped in with Source, you pray a lot, you have a close relationship with God, spiritual realm, it's only so much that your spiritual team will allow you to revisit. There's sometimes if Spirit sees that you're struggling with moving on from a situation, sometimes Spirit may close that door for you, and it's simply because Spirit doesn't want to continue to see you going through the same thing, that's just for the ones who you're really close to Source and things of that nature. But I also will say, if you need to pray. That helps as well. Praying for the strength to continue on, praying for the strength to fight off your temptation, praying for the strength to say no, praying for the strength to, and also I would say not only the strength but the courage as well, because a lot of times when I think courage, I think doing something although you're scared. And for a lot of people, I know I myself went through it, a lot of times we don't want to move on because there's always this fear of the unknown. It's just like, okay, if I move on from this person, then what? Who will I be with then? Who will love me then? Or if I move on from this job, what job am I going to go to next? So praying for that courage to close that chapter and knowing that the next chapter will be better, But, those thoughts, those emotions, they're going to pop up. If you're coming out of a toxic situation or environment that you've outgrown, maybe it's even a friendship where maybe it wasn't toxic, you just simply outgrew some people. That happens. Our frequencies change, our values, our principles, all of that changes, And something else a lot of people don't talk about is when you evolve and work on yourself and you improve and you grow, when you do outgrow certain cycles, some people may not like that about you. And it's like the same people that you were once cool with and close with, those could real life become your biggest enemies, because a lot of times when people see us grow, they take that personal, like, oh, you don't want to kick it with me no more. I real life have went through that in my own personal life, and I would just say, just be on the lookout for that. And that's why I pray a lot. But, that's just that's some things that people don't talk about when it comes to moving forward. Moving forward ain't always pretty. It don't always feel good. You can do what's best for you, but still, at the end of the day, still feel like shit and still battle with depression, still battle with anxiety and the helplessness, hopelessness, and sadness and all of that, Just because you make a good decision, some people don't tell you is you're not always going to be happy about that decision. Sometimes doing what's best for you can real life make you feel guilty, because it may hurt the people around you who want another path for you. Or, once again, like with the person, if they're moving out the hood, it may hurt their friends. It may hurt who they grew up with, and we don't want to hurt the people we love. But at the end of the day, everybody on this planet has to do what's best for their highest good, And, But I just advise having a list in place. If you find that you keep going back to the same situations, I will also say don't beat yourself up. I think everybody on this planet, if they haven't already, they will encounter a situation to where you should get out of it, and you try, but you end up going back. And then you get out of it again, then you go back, and then you get out of it again, then you go back, and then you get out again, then you go back. It does not make you weak. It does not make you stupid. It does not make you foolish. It does not make you crazy. It just makes you human. And with us being human, sometimes we repeat the same mistakes, and even when it comes down to repeating a mistake, that's just simply repeating a cycle, repeating a thought, repeating something up here. There's something up here that did not fully click in that situation. And until we get that straightened out up here, we're going to continue to go through it in real life until we get the memo, until we learn that lesson, So I would just say anybody else, if you find yourself going back, don't beat yourself up. You're human. You're allowed to make mistakes. Something I will also cover though is what is it called? Willful ignorance or something like that. Once again, to my group of people watching this, if you are very highly attuned with the spiritual realm, you pray a lot, things of that nature. Sometimes spirit is a little rougher on us than it is other people, because if we know something is wrong, something is not aligned with us, something is not good for us, something is not good for the soul, and we keep putting ourselves in it, sometimes spirit purposely makes that situation blow up in our faces so bad because we knew better, you know. So if you're a type of person, you don't pray that much, you don't really know too much about God, you don't know too much about really what's right and wrong, if it's a situation you genuinely don't know any better about, you know, it's like you're good. But to my people who you know you don't need to be messing with that person, you know you don't, like, you know these things without a shadow of doubt, and you go back, sometimes spirit will punish us, you know, because it's just like, I saved you, I gave you confirmation, I gave you all the evidence and information you needed, and you went back. So it's like in that moment, spirit low-key feels betrayed. And I don't know if y'all read in the Bible or not, but our God is a jealous God. And what that means is, like, basically, like, I'm showing you the way, I'm showing you what's best for you, and you're turning your back on me. You're turning your attention away from me, and I'm trying to help you. So that's whenever those spiritual punishments come into play, you know, and that's just us getting spiritual whoopings, you know. It's kind of like a child. If you have a child, they know not to do something. Like, my kids be knowing not to play in mommy lip gloss, mommy mascara, but sometimes they do it anyway, and they get them forehead taps, like, what you doing? You know, and it's like spirit is the same way with us, you know. If we are highly aware, you know, that's why I say people that are more aware, more conscious, it's like our punishments are way worse than it would be for a person who's kind of like still sleep subconsciously, or they're still, like, you know, still in like the beginning phases of what the universe is in relation to us and things of that nature, you know. But to those who know better, you know, we tend to actually get punished for going back, because our God gets jealous. It's just like, I showed you the way, I gave you confirmation, I reassured you that you were on the right track of moving forward, yet you're still choosing this situation over my guidance. And, you know, that's when the wrath kicks in, and sometimes we do have to bump our heads and, you know, get that punishment for us to sit down somewhere and be like, okay, I hear you now, Lord, I'm ready to listen, you know. And spirit doesn't punish us to cause us pain or, you know, things of that nature. It's just like, you know, spirit just wants what's best for us, you know. It just wants what's best for us. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have though. But just how you feel moving forward. It's okay for you to go into those bouts of feeling down and, you know, depressed and things of that nature. That's normal. You're coming out of a situation that you grew familiar with into something completely new. And sometimes spirit don't even show us fully the next chapter. Like, we come out of this chapter, but spirit doesn't reveal the whole next chapter to us. So it's just like, damn, you want me to move forward, but you're not showing me to who or to where, you know. And it's like, that's where our faith has to come in, that blind faith, to where I don't see my next chapter, I don't see the next person that's meant for me, I don't see what's in store for me, but I have to keep moving forward, because if I go back, I know what that's about, and I know that's not for me, you know. But moving forward, like, I don't know what's fully in front of me, but I'm trusting in the divine. I'm trusting that God knows what I need next, you know. And I think a lot of times we forget that God created us. I think sometimes we forget that Spirit knows what we need, what we want, what we like, what we don't like. I think sometimes we forget that. I think sometimes we forget that God created the sun, the moon, the stars, the clouds, the grass, the trees. I think sometimes we forget that, you know, because if we truly knew that, we wouldn't question what God has in store for us next after we come from that. If God is delivering us from something that's not good for us, it only makes sense that we're moving into something that is good for us, you know, the complete opposite of what we're going through. But we have to trust that and know that and expect that. And also we have to prepare ourselves for that. Something that a lot of people don't talk about is just because you come out of a toxic situation, that don't automatically qualify you to be ready for something healthy. Okay, if you come out of a relationship and you're used to arguing, you're used to being cheated on, you're used to being lied to, you carry all those defense mechanisms with you. And so if you came across somebody that was healthy, you would be starting fights with them. You would be suspicious and they are doing absolutely nothing wrong. You would be accusing them of something that they would never do to you, and that will cause them to feel some type of way, and that will cause them to pull back, you know, to protect their own peace and sanity, you know. So it's like in that process of us waiting for what's next, we have to prepare. A lot of times we think, oh, where's the next blessing? Or where's my next chapter? I just came out of this one. But God is like, I'm not finna give you this so you can mess it up. You need to get yourself together mentally. You got to get yourself together emotionally. Sometimes get yourself together financially. You know, get yourself together spiritually, you know, for the next chapter. We have to prepare. Because if we're coming out of something toxic, something that is not good for us, we have developed coping mechanisms that moving forward, it would be very detrimental and destructive in our new environment, you know. Once again with the person, if they're moving out the hood, you know, maybe they are ready to move to the next chapter, which is being in the suburbs around high class people and ain't no violence and stuff. But if they move from this to there, they will still carry that gun. They will still be looking over their shoulders. They will still be hostile. If people make certain gestures, certain movements around them, they will be a problem in that new neighborhood, you know? And that's why I say it's so important for us, while we're waiting for the next chapter to be revealed, that we are preparing ourselves for it, you know? Because what use would it make to hand a person a diamond that they can't afford to pay, you know? It's like, don't give what's holy to the dogs, you know? Dogs, they don't really learn, like, they don't really, like, know much. They don't really know how to value things. You know, a dog, if you could give them something really expensive, they're gonna bite on it, they're gonna trample on it, they might sit on it, they might poop on it, might pee on it. Like, dogs don't know how to value things. So to compare that to us, not saying that we're dogs, but just saying when we come out of certain situations, we don't truly know how to value a good thing. If all we're used to is toxicity, things of that nature, we wouldn't know right out the gate how to value the opposite. So we have to learn how, you know. And once we are prepared, once we have released the armor and unlearned certain behaviors, that's whenever we become aligned and prepared and qualified for the new, you know. But that kind of remind me, if you have your hands full already, but you're trying to like reach for something else, it's like we have to let go of the baggage first, let go of those negative responses, negative reactions, accusations, negative perspectives, and presumptions of people, and the combativeness. Like, we have to let go of a lot of stuff first before we can even get into the position to be free enough to accept what Spirit is trying to bring into our life, But if we keep revisiting the past, there's no way that we can clear it out fully and prepare for the future. We have to be okay with being in the middle and not going backwards, but also the future is not there just yet. We have to be okay with the present moment right here. We have to use this time in the present moment between the past and future to heal, to learn, to grow, and to unlearn anything that we picked up from the past, But that's all that I have, though. I hope this is useful and helpful to somebody. How you feel, what you're thinking is normal. If you have your list in place of why you left, that'll help you to stay on track, to where you can make level-headed decisions, But yeah. And in the meanwhile, if you're waiting for what's next, if you can channel your energy onto how can I prepare myself for what's next, what do I need to, sometimes we have to really pray for that. Spirit, I ask that you show me, what do I need to heal? How can I prepare for what you have in store for me next? How can I prepare? Or what do I need to let go of? I pray that you show me how I can let this go. I pray that you assist me with letting this go, But but we don't have to fear what's next, because if you're coming out of something that did not serve you, you are walking to the opposite. You're walking forward into the opposite. But if we keep going back, we know what's going to come. If we already came out of toxicity, we know what to expect when we go back. But it's moving forward, we don't know what to expect, but it's not going to be the same. It's always the opposite, But that's all that I have, though, y'all. I hope this is a big help to you guys in some type of way. And just know you got it, and don't beat yourself up. It's all a learning journey, It's a learning journey. Some of us learn quicker than others slower than others, and that's fine, But praying for that strength, that guidance, that courage, all of that. Praying for instructions on how to prepare yourself for what's next. That helps as well. But all right, y'all, give me kisses. I love you guys so much. And I'll go ahead and let you guys go. Until next time, toodles.